Okay, so I have two slides on this, right? Goals and how you kind of answer this. One of them being what you want to do in your career. One of them being a little bit more about making sure that the job that you're interviewing for has what essentially what you're looking for. A lot of times you're going to get questions around, what are you looking for in your next role? What do you want to do? Where do you see yourself in 3 years? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And you can and most likely will get questions around these in a first call. I always ask people what they're looking for in their next role, what's most important to them. Where do they really, see themselves in the next, 2 years, 3 years? So I recommend taking this framework and kind of doing this as sort of like an exercise, making sure you have a good idea of what it is that you do want to do in your career long term. And then using this framework and the next, we'll go through some samples as to how to answer some questions. So let me go to the next one. This one being a little bit more, as I was saying, a little bit more job focused, making sure that the company or the role itself is going to give you those experiences that you're looking for. So once again, another thing you can use to kind of like write out and think a little bit more about what it is that you're really wanting. And then the next slide, we'll go to some examples. Okay, so for this question as short-term goals and long-term goals, should be, pretty short and sweet. I'm talking a little bit more about that industry that you're in, related to the role that you're applying to. Definitely, I wouldn't recommend copying this word for word, but just kind of give you guys an idea of, talking about how you're passionate about that function or that industry and that you're in, and longer term wanting to, and therefore taking a few things from that first list that I went through. Longer term, I want to learn to do X, Y, Z, and this and that. I'm really excited about this role because it's going to give me the chance to do, and then listing off some of those things from that second list. So easy to answer if you just kind of do a little bit of studying on yourself and writing out some of these things from those two lists. And then it also will kind of showcase that you've done a little bit of your research on the company, you've done a little bit of research on, also like kind of just like reflection on thinking as to what you want to do. And it will really kind of showcased in that first call. I see a big difference between someone who is really passionate about what they're doing. They have a really good mindset as to what they want to do long term in their career versus someone who hasn't really thought about it and they're just talking to me just to talk to me. So this is one way to really stand out, is if you can kind of fine tune these goaling questions, or what do you want to do in your next role? What's important to you? Any questions on this one?